The problem is acrylic is it's plastic, and like after 30 years, it'll start to dissipate, and eventually,
yours are built to last.
Mine are built to last, you know? Like, what is it, like Chevy or something?
Yeah,
like,
well, built. Adrian Stine, her paintings, you can run over them with a truck. They built to last.
Funny story, that literally happened to me. I had 7 by 6 foot pieces in the back of my friend's truck. At the time, I was just like, it's just around the corner.
The wind caught it?
I did not strap them down. And so I'm an old Jacksonville, and I look in the rear view, and I just see them fly out of the back, and they're just, and I was like, and so then I pull over, and then I gotta wait, so I'm just watching people run over the oil paintings, and there wasn't a tire track on them, nothing. They looked perfectly
That's because you used to cured oils.
and that's exactly why. And I got there, and I was just like crying, and they were like, they look fine. I was like, I know, I can't believe it, like, but I made them very well.
You should market your paintings. I mean, those will last.
They will last. Like, tried and true, you know.
Welcome to another episode of East Texas Unfiltered. I'm your host, J. Chad Parker. Today we have an unusual person for East Texas, an artist. Now, you know artists, but you haven't seen a lot of them. Every now and then you meet somebody that says that's how they want to make a living. That's how they make a living. But it's a tough road to hoe. And people are not as talented as others in this. And so I wanted to explore this with a woman who I met, and I bought a piece of her work at a benefit, and I was intrigued by how good it was. And so I asked her to come on the show. Adrian Stine, thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
Our relationship began at Rick's at a benefit where you offered up a painting for auction.
Yes.
Right? That's when we talked, and I was like, man, I love this. And the painting reminded me of other art that I liked, and I want to put it up. Let's put it up, Chris, just so we can give, this is not Oliver style. That's her website, but I want to see there we go. This painting right here I own. It's at my house. Mm-hmm. I'm going to put it in the podcast studio.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome.
You know, I'm building a new office. It's finished. I have a studio. We're going to move, but I'm going to put that in the new studio.
I love that. That makes me happy.
And you'll have been a guest, so it'll have meaning. But anyway, yeah, they tried to tell me, my son, that they were going to give us another one, not that one. So he sent me a picture and said, Dad, I got the painting. Yeah. Anyway, that some people may say, that's a unique style. What is that? These aren't meant to be portraits. This is more your style. Is that what this is?
Yes. So these girls I do, it's actually the smallest pieces that I generally do, but they're part of what I call a salon series, which is a play on the traditional French style of hanging a gallery where you nestle in lots of different pieces next to each other, but also a play on the word salon, which is a place where women go to get done up. And so it's kind of celebrates kind of the beauty of femininity. And so it's a big spectrum, but all my little women paintings fall in that umbrella.
I'm going to carry you through your series on your website so you can explain to what they are. Let's go back to the original slide. Let's just keep that up, Chris, because I want people to see her website in the event that after or during watching the show, they want to go there, look at some of your stuff that you have for sale, right?
Totally, absolutely.
When you think artist, and I know I've read things about you, people have tried to discourage you, like, hey, you're a dreamer. Hey, this is a tough road. Maybe you ought to give this up and do something else. Have you heard that for the last several years?
Yes, I still hear that. Yes, constantly. And it's been, you definitely question yourself. Sometimes you're like, wait, what am I doing? I'm just making these paintings and it's supposed to like mean something. But I've had my work and sold work for like the last 20 years or so. And so you also have these moments where you know, have body work, you sell a piece to a client. Maybe it's a client you don't even know. And where after they've gotten the work, they've come to me and said like, oh, you know, this meant this and this and this to me. And it has a huge connection to like why I made the work. I had a piece in my MA exhibition to get my first master's, and it was called Where's My Mind? And it was just a cityscape with kind of like in a Bay Area. And it was named after, it was kind of a tip of the hat to the Pixie song that I love, Where's My Mind? But whenever I sold it to one of my older clients, and she called me after and she said, you know, you didn't even know this, but my husband's going through dementia and it's been a real struggle. And I loved this piece. But then when we heard the title, me and him both just cracked up laughing because it was so applicable to what she was going through in her life. So then you have these things that happen where you're like, this is what I should be doing, actually. So it's interesting. But yes, you do have the naysayers, and you have to definitely, keep yourself talked off the ledge a lot.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's... you could get on a streak where you were selling things, or you could get in a drought where,
Yes.
you weren't able to sell them, and it wouldn't mean that your work was not good, right?
Absolutely.
That's frustrating.
Yes, because all the factors things like the price of gas affect how sales are going to be, because, selling oil paintings, it's not an inelastic good, That depends on people's income. If somebody is going to buy work and then, maybe they get in a car accident or something major, something serious comes up, that gets put to the back burner.
Right.
So when you're selling work, the economy has a huge influence on
It's a
sales.
luxury item.
Absolutely, yes.
And people have different levels of appreciation for it.
Yes, totally.
Right.
And it depends on the markets you're in,
where Dallas is culturally advanced.
Yes.
And art and design are priorities and are highlighted there, right?
Yes,
I mean, much more so than Tyler, right?
Yes.
I mean, for
and
sure.
They have a little bit, what is it? I think Dallas has the highest millionaire per capita in the United States.
I mean, that helps with art sales.
Yeah, because with those clients don't, it doesn't affect them if the price of gas goes up. So for people like me, that's when it's a good, to be in a little bit larger city, because you have more people with more money too, where things don't affect them so much. So, all these things influence how it goes.
I don't know if commercial space is, decorated with your type of art or not, but that's another whole category.
Yeah, it's a whole category. Because if someone was just like, you can have whatever you want as a painter, eventually, maybe, hopefully, one thing is I think my work would be beautiful in a hotel, like in boutique hotels. To me, my work shows best with each other, and there's such a big spectrum. I could see my work filling up a boutique hotel. I'm going to try to pitch the Blackstone, whoever that's opening the one downtown.
The Blackstone, say it loud. Is
that I couldn't remember if that was it, but the Blackstone,
yeah.
I am going to pitch them. The problem with the hotels is you have to get in at the right time, which is normally well ahead of when they start actually doing the build out.
They have not started the construction yet.
So that's on my radar.
Okay, I'm going to help you. I'm going to try to help you.
I would love that.
Okay,
and I feel like it'd be, for somewhere like Tyler, it'd be so neat to have a local
for
artist
sure. Okay,
because I feel like that goes with the whole. It's like I just love preserving things that are, original to the location. So that's one thing. And then the other thing is one of my things I splurge in is fine dining. And so to me, ideally, I think in really nice restaurants, just one huge piece made specifically for the restaurant is a dream of mine. I don't know that will ever happen, but it might, I feel like that's something I would be so good at, just in the main dining room, one enormous piece that's made for the restaurant specifically, whatever I got this idea when I ate at this restaurant in Denver and called Wax Taylor, and I thought it would be great if they had one of my pieces about them,
Yeah.
So, these are things that are on my radar for in the future.
Well, I mean, Tyler, the Blackstone, that would be interesting, to outfit that hotel with local art from local artists, because they're returning that hotel that used to be here.
Exactly.
To kind of bring back and preserve parts of Tyler, including the development downtown.
Exactly. And I just recently moved to Dallas, a couple years ago. But I was always in downtown since I've been back in my adult life. And so I love downtown Tyler. It has a very special place in my heart. And I was like, man, as soon as I left, that's they literally started construction on everything. So it's kind of, I don't know, but yeah, it would be neat to have a part of that, because I do love that they're preserving that part of history and bringing it back to current day. So
your style has been described, or is, I guess, correctly described as abstract expressionist. Is that a...
Yes, that is a technical category of painter. It would be the same as Van Gogh was an abstract expressionist.
And from what I've read, trying to understand, to be, I'm now an art man in this interview. Expressionist means what I feel.
Yes.
Right? When I see this, what do I feel versus impressionist that says, when I see this, what do I see?
Exactly. Yes.
Right? I mean, people get them confused, but those two are separate.
They are separate. So impressionism is more focusing on the way that you see light and kind of recreating how you see
at
light.
that time.
At that time.
As if you were looking at a sunset or at a time of day, and the light was hitting the trees, the flowers, and you were capturing it then, not generically for all time.
Yes. And even like if you look at Degas' paintings, he painted lots of dancers. He grew up on stage, so all of his paintings were in stage light, but he was capturing that form of light that he would see interior on stages. So and then the expressionist is similar, but the difference is, it's kind of my interpretation of what I see or how I feel with what I see. So that's pretty on point way to explain it.
And earlier you said, when you were talking about a lady client with a husband who had dementia, you said, she said something like, this is how I'm feeling, looking at this. And it made me think, was your painting having the intended effect of what a person feels like when they're looking at something?
Yeah, that is the interesting part, because a few things. One is that when I'm making my work, I work very improvisationally. So most of my work falls in certain categories. It's like a naturescape or a cityscape or figurative, generally speaking. But when I'm making the work, I really don't know what the painting is until I'm almost done.
It kind of takes shape in your mind as you apply the colors and you begin to see something emerge.
Yes. And so the way that I think of it is that the painting's already there, but I have to find it.
Yeah, you're
so
not
I have to
going
find
like,
what the piece, I have to find out what it is.
I'm gonna do a cityscape tonight.
No, yes. And I found that out the hard way. It took years to realize I do not work that way as a painter. Some people, yes, they're like, this is what I'm going to paint. Like they called Norman Rockwell the human camera because his eye, he could just, if he saw something, he could do an oil painting of it exact. Like I don't work that way. If I try to paint a bird in my head, it's not going to look like a bird when I'm done. So it took me a while to figure out that that's how I work. But then I realized that that's also my strongest work, is when I allow myself to work that way and find the piece as I'm going through the process of painting. So, which is nerve-wracking, by the way.
Yeah, it'd have to be because, talk about writer's block.
Yeah.
I mean, like, okay, there's a blank canvas. Now, I'm not sure what I'm going to paint, but I'm just going to start applying colors.
Yeah. And sometimes I'm like, at the end, I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Sometimes it's the two newest pieces that I just now finished. They both came out and I was like, okay, interesting. So I guess we're making a little transition. And so it's interesting. It's also interesting because it's like after the work is done, it's almost like I look at it and then I start to realize where different things came from. Things, because I feel like I'm always taking notes. So then when the work is done, I can look at it and I'm like, oh my goodness, that's from this. That's from this dream I had. That's from this trip I went on. That's from, the way the road looked after it rained the other night. Like very specific things I see that I'm pulling from and then putting back into the work, kind of.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you is, do you actually think that either consciously or subconsciously, when you paint with the brush, that that then you see things that you recognize that you've seen in your life?
Yes, it's crazy, actually.
I mean,
it's very interesting because it's such a actually, when my show to get my MFA, to get my Master's of Fine Arts, I finished at UT Tyler here, was actually called Shadow Work. So it was actually, that entire exhibition was about the process of tapping into the subconscious. And it's crazy because you're not, while you're doing it, while you're making the work, you're not conscious of what it is you're pulling from. It's only after everything is done and you're looking at it all and like everything kind of has a title and you're like, oh, wow.
That looks just like what I saw some other time.
Yes. And so like I have a piece that I just finished, just my most recent piece I finished, called Tell the Sun It's Time to Sleep. And it's kind of it looks like if you painted just a little scene that's like on a bay. Well, I lived in the Bay Area.
I've looked at it. I've seen that one.
You've seen that
one.
That
was one of my favorites because I like the colors
Mm-hmm. And for me, it was very reminiscent of places I've lived on the bay when I lived on the coast. But also I noticed like in the right corner, I actually had like painted the house I lived in the last 10 years I was here in Tyler. That was over here in the Azalea district, downtown, that I loved that house. It was a Frank Lloyd Wright replica. And I noticed that I like hid it in the little corner of the painting. And I told my friends, I was like, I put Chilton in there.
But I mean, you think that's because it was impressed in your mind from the past that when you started to make something, you made something that was familiar?
Yes, and it's very interesting. Yeah, and it's such a subconscious thing you're pulling from. It's interesting to see the kind of personification of it. And the series I'm working on now is called The Way Home. And so it was an interesting like circle back kind of, and as far as like the subject matter of the work. So it's a very interesting process.
Explain to us non-art people, how an expressionist painter says, I see something which seems impressionist, but then it ends up being something that you call expressionist. Explain to us how that comes about.
Well, I think for me personally, like I said, I'm always taking notes. Like every little bitty thing that I see anything that strikes me, I try to remember it. Or I like have notes to my phone. I'm always taking, there's just like a scroll of things I want to remember, or even like lines in poems or like small sayings or whatever. So I feel like things that make an impression on me, I kind of just file that away. And then when I actually sit down to work, I feel like that's when I let myself kind of pull from all those files. And then what I'm giving you guys is like my interpretation of something that only I experienced.
And that is the feel part.
That's the feel part.
That makes it an expressionist painting, right? Like, you've got to make something on a painting. Yeah. Right? It can't just be nothing, right? Yeah. So it's got to be a structure, like you said.
It's got to be something.
You've migrated to cityscapes, figures, but then the colors and the streaks and the nuance of it is the expressionist, how it makes you feel.
Yes.
I mean, that's kind of, I'm elevating my art game here today.
Yeah, I read this book once and I like it because I feel like it's a good way to explain kind of the process of and the relationship between the painter and like, my viewers, because all artists are different. So a lot of artists have a message. They have something they're trying to communicate. They have, something their work is all definitely about,
do you communicate that in your series?
Kind of, but my work, the reason my work is different is that I'm not really trying to tell my viewer anything. I don't have a message.
These are just categories.
These are just things. So then this is something it took years to figure out.
That you even doing it?
Yes. And also like what my work's about. I thought it was this big, deep thing for a long time. And I was like going to get my MA to get my first master's.
Adrian, what is your work all about?
And my mentor, she kept asking me and I was like really and I was coming up with all these things. And then she was talking to me one day. She's like, what do you think about when you're painting? And I was like, no, when I'm painting, my mind is silent. It's the only time my mind is quiet. And she was like, oh, okay. And I'm like, oh, that's okay. And she's like, yeah. And she's like, I was like, I don't know. It's just not about that. It's not that deep. Like my work is, I just want to make something pretty. Like for my viewers, like go away for a second. And she was like, that's it. And I was like, oh, like that's enough. I thought it had to like be this big, deep thing.
Right.
But actually what I want to give my viewers is just an opportunity to kind of escape for a minute. I feel like that's one of the best things you could do for a person is to give them a little moment of freedom to just go away for a minute, And
that's why escapism has, there's an element of that to yours, and that's what you intend.
Yes. So my intent is really just to so I'm constantly trying to make more beautiful spaces that take you away or like draw you in longer or, and so I'm kind of, now that I know that, I kind of see how far I could push the envelope on it and see, how many more people I can reach. And so it's, that's a fun rabbit hole, actually. It's kind of, trying to see how much of that I can, I realize the more ambiguous I make things, the more people you reach. Like, okay.
The more open to interpretation your paintings are.
Exactly. And so that's something I'm constantly trying to kind of lean into. But I read this book once, I think it was called Secrets of the Zen. And in the book, they talk about music and about how there's this, theory, this idea that every person has songs they hear in their lifetime where they're like, oh, how did you put that into words? Like, how could you? And it just strikes you. And everyone has those few songs that's that to them. And the idea is that there was only ever one song written in the universe. But if a musician is where they should be doing what they should be doing, then they tune into that one song. And all those songs that strike us like that are part of the one song ever written. So I like that idea because I feel like in the process of painting these past 20 years, I've learned that my strongest work that reaches the most people is when I'm the quietest. And really, my work has nothing to do with me. It's actually all about my viewers. And so once I recognize that, now in the creative process, I have lots of rules.
Solitude.
Solitude. I don't have people around when I'm working. I only paint sober. There's lots of, it's
I've written some good things with a buzz. I'll tell you.
Yeah. I feel like I felt that way when I was younger, but I feel like I also would go into work and I would ruin things that were good, And so now I kind of approach the creative process with. And this is just personal, but more respect.
Reverence.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? I mean, you're approaching it as you would approach a religious experience in a way. Like, I'm going to be clear-minded, sober, focused, solitude. Yeah. I'm going to try to get what I can from the universe to make this canvas.
And it's that's exactly how it feels, actually.
I told Chris I'm good.
Yeah, that's pretty on point. Yeah, so it's been, and I find that my work is stronger on a more consistent basis when I do that too, and I want a professional painter. Like, I want this to eventually be my only gig. So also the other part of that, the other side of that coin is, am I behaving in a professional manner? Am I painting as a professional?
Are you giving the profession respect?
Exactly. And putting in what I want out of it, So it's definitely been a journey, but...
That's called paying dues.
Yes, I think so.
I guess you think of painting and you think, well, someone who's an artist, depending on the artist, is like technically very good. Like, they can paint a straight line or they can draw this. Mm-hmm. But your expressionist art, it's really, it's not that at all, right?
No, and there's a lot of technical. I mean, it's funny because I'm actually like such a traditionalist when it comes to, I'm a like traditional oil painter. So I follow actually all of the technical rules.
That's what I was curious.
Yeah.
This looks like, there's no rules. This
exactly.
is, hey, I could do this. If you gave me 5 tubes, I'm making a painting.
Yes.
Right. I mean,
that's what it looks like. And I've had people ask me, they're like, oh, do you just go in there and go at it? And I'm like,
throw stuff on there,
Yeah. And I'm like, no, oh my God, no.
So underneath it all, there are some technical traits that, a person with a master's in fine arts and painting applies to this.
I follow all of the technical rules. And a lot of it is technical, like process based. So like making sure that I'm, using the right ratio of linseed oil, depending on how far along in the painting I am, so that it cures properly, so that it's archival, so it doesn't crack. Like, there's lots of stuff like that. And there's things like compositionally. I'm like, oh, I look at a piece and it's too... I'm like, oh, it's boring. Well, there's too many horizontal lines. There needs to be more dynamic lines. There needs to be, and I start to make changes on these technical rules that I understand as far as like building the work. So that definitely plays a part in it, because if I didn't have the skill set that I developed getting my degrees and I studied under Alexis Serio here. She's
at UT Tyler.
At UT Tyler, and she's my very good friend and mentor. And
where is she now?
She's here. She has work that shows, I believe, in Philadelphia and then also in Santa Fe, New Mexico. But I mean, her record is, she had an opening show at the Tokyo MoMA. And so the Tokyo Museum of Modern Art.
I mean, that sounds important, and it sounds like it's big.
It's like, I mean, that's like, I would just probably die a happy woman.
She's a professional painter, and she makes a living selling paintings in addition to teaching.
Yes. And so I learned everything I know from her. And so,
are we lucky to have her here at UT Tyler?
Have no idea.
Right. I mean,
that's why I chose to do I knew eventually I wanted to go back and get my MFA for the technical skill. I wanted my work to get to that level. So I knew I was going to do that eventually. And then, I mean, I'm good. I have very good grades, so I could have went anywhere, but I chose UT Tyler because it was more of a mentorship program and because I knew I could work under her. So it was a very conscious decision, actually. because I could work so closely with such a master painter. That was a huge part of it, actually. And I mean, like, it was my senior year, my last semester, and I was like, can I stay one more semester? I didn't want to go. It was such a really magical experience. Being able to just submerge yourself in your work it's priceless, really.
Well, we're highlighting something that, people probably wouldn't appreciate, right? Is that there was this type of talent at our University of Texas at Tyler, right?
Yeah.
I mean, in an arts program, you would think that, maybe we didn't have.
No, I feel like it's such a hidden gem. And all of the professors there are so accomplished, and they're all working artists, which is, I think, why they're such good professors and why so many of the students from that program have gone on to do wonderful things. As working artists, in the real world. I have two of my colleagues that own that I went to school with. They have a gallery in San Antonio now, and they do a lot of this public artworks for San Antonio. They did the flowers that are on the Riverwalk. They just recently got a street named after them because of all the public artworks they've done. So these are all people that came from the same program. And it really speaks to the wealth of knowledge that faculty has just here locally in Tyler. And yeah, a lot of people have no idea. And like, go to the shows, they have a faculty exhibition every year. Go to it's free, and it's right here.
I mean, we used to talk about Beast, East Texas, and sports, man. We're going to have to talk about it in arts now.
I know.
Right? I mean,
I think so. And I think it's so nice to have people take notice because, like I said, it's really special to have that concentrated of that quality of artist here is rare to have them all in one location and so easily accessible. And then just to piggyback on that, we also have the Tyler Museum of Art, which people I don't think realize, like, that is a real museum. They have an amazing, I worked there, I had two internships when I was still in graduate school. So I got to work with them and I mean, their permanent collection is sprawling and amazing, actually, the stuff that they have just right here in Tyler, Texas. And it's also, I think they just made it free to the public where the schools can go and see for free. And
kind of like they used to go to the planetarium at TJC.
Yes, yeah,
right?
yeah.
I mean, to try to expose younger people to art.
Yes.
Now, the Tyler Museum of Art, are the paintings there just owned by them, or do they have artists, display different ones?
That's an excellent question. So it's a combination. So they have their permanent collection, which is huge. Normally with a museum, they have a permanent collection. You always either have work that's on display. Normally there's like one or two galleries that always have permanent collection pieces showing. In addition to that, they'll have special exhibitions where they either have visiting artists that bring their work in, or they have exhibitions where it's a combination of work that's loaned from other museums around the country to make a show. And so when I was working there, we did the Little Black Dress exhibition, and we had some work come in from the Texas Women's University in Dallas. They have a huge Chanel collection. So it was great and then they had a local Dallas artist that's very successful that did these large paintings of like party scenes. So they had all these vintage classic Chanel dresses and shoes and purses. And then you have the artwork to kind of back it up. And then, so that exhibition, we have works and, pieces that were on loan from other museums and universities to make a show. And then in another gallery, they have like the permanent pieces that are in their actual collection. So it's a combination. It kind of depends on what they have going on. And then they'll do like special exhibitions too, where they have, like when I was there, I know they have like a Clean Spellman, like other Texas artists that are very successful and well known. So
if a gallery has their own paintings that they purchased, they own, they're there. Is that just, elevates the gallery so that people will want to come in and see those as well as whatever show is brought in?
It does. It's also, there's a lot of, with museums, universities, galleries, the combination of all of those, it's really good to have a strong permanent collection also, because then you can loan pieces out. you can't exhibit everything. It's too much to show. I mean, just one of the collections that I inventoried when I was there was 600 pieces.
Okay, so they have a lot more art than we realize.
Yes. Like they have amazing artwork there, actually. And it's too big. You can't show everything all the time. Also, it just depends on what's on the calendar, what's coming up, you know. But it's good to have your permanent collection, because if you can't show it, you should loan it out so that it can be seen other places. So there's a lot of exchange between private collectors, museums, galleries, and universities, where they, you know, exchange work to show in different exhibitions that they may not have up at the time.
But I mean, Tyler, you say this Tyler Museum of Art have enough art to where they can't show it all, and or they've got just enough. I mean,
no, I think they have more than enough.
They do.
Yeah. I don't think people realize how amazing the collection at the Tyler Museum of Art is.
Well, I mean, you're piquing our interest, because you've got me thinking, you know, the only time I've been there, I think, was at a party, and, you know, I had a few drinks, and I'm not sure I noticed the art when I was there.
Yeah.
You know, but
yeah, and the art, it changes out too. So some of the stuff they have showing, you know, they don't show everything. They don't show everything all the time. And some things they may only show, you know, very special occasions. So yeah, it's good to go. They change exhibitions out about quarterly. So every 3 to 4 months, you're going to go and see something different.
So when you go, you don't go to buy, you just go to view.
You just go to view.
And if they have a show and they have some artist come in and display some of his or her work for sale, I'm assuming.
Yes, they'll do that too.
Then I guess the gallery, if they sold something, they probably took a percentage.
More than likely, yeah.
I mean, that sounds like a good business model.
Yeah.
If I was doing it, I'd say, well, hey, if you sell them here with my people in Tyler that are coming to look.
Yeah, I think that's pretty standard. I don't know the specifics specifically, but yeah, that's pretty standard, because they'll do that too. I think I know Alexis has showed there before. And so I know whenever they have like visiting artists, their stuff will definitely be, you know, where you can have it purchased as well.
When you think of art and you have a basic understanding like me, you kind of think of the Renaissance in Europe, right?
Yeah.
And you think, and I've done a little research just so I would, you know, be able to talk to you.
Yeah.
What they've called, you know, pre-Raphael. Raphael being kind of one of the Renaissance
painters.
Before that, they call it pre-Raphael art, right? You know, women in longer dresses, medieval times, if you will, right?
Totally.
And then you've got the expressionists, the impressionists that come in
later.
During the Renaissance or afterwards?
After the Renaissance.
Okay.
So the Renaissance would be, because also during the Dark Ages, before the Renaissance, you know, people were kind of just trying to live, trying to survive. Right. So there wasn't, not only was there not a market or a space for art, but also to even make art, you would have to have a benefactor to pay to get the colors, because you can't even... Where you'd have to, you know, I mean, just to make the
Michelangelo.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? I mean, these guys were not in poverty. These people were educated and wealthy.
Yes, and they had financial backing for every single thing they did. Michelangelo, most of his work was paid for by the church, by the Catholic Church. So, you know, he was able to do all of that. But that was also why he was considered the Renaissance man, because of, you imagine going from a space where there's really, you don't even see art in the Dark Ages unless you were a wealthy family and you had portraits done
of yourself or
your family members, and so, or religious paintings,
right?
You know, and so you
Jesus, Mary, you know,
right? And then you go
the Last Supper,
exactly. And then the Renaissance really opened the door for this to become something that was important again. And then the Impressionists start, I would say, like late 1800s, I think.
What do I see?
Don't quote me on that. Right. Yeah. And so Monet was one of the first, one of the most well-known.
I mean, that's what you think about. You think of Monet, you think of Van Gogh.
So Van Gogh was a little bit later, but
you think about Picasso.
Who was later also. And so, yeah, so that's
the guy with one ear.
Yeah, that was Van Gogh.
Okay.
He was crazy. He cut his ear off. He sent it to his ex-girlfriend. Like, mailed it to
Sounds
her.
like sounds like a modern stalking love story.
I know. He was
I'll
actually,
get you.
he was crazy because he would nibble on the end of his paintbrush.
Okay, lead poisoning.
And then he also suffered from syphilis. And so
Al Capone.
Yes, it's very similar. And so
That's
Van Gogh actually only sold one piece ever in his life. And his brother took care of him. His brother's wife.
Tupac Shakur, after death.
I know. It's real.
Sales explode.
Yeah.
Right?
And so that's a whole, don't get me on a tangent because I could talk about Van Gogh for hours.
Well, I'm
and
just
hours.
trying to frame,
But yeah, so you have the Renaissance and then, Impressionists kind of come in. Impressionists opened the door for abstract expressionists because they were painting what they saw, but they were also leaning into it. So they weren't just painting the pond in front of he was focusing on the light and the color that the light created. And so it really did open the door for abstract expressionists because it was the first time that, we're looking at something that may be a realistic scene.
And you may see it a little differently than me.
Totally.
And that's how I feel.
Yeah.
And there's our bridge to expressionist.
Totally.
That's how it evolved.
And Van Gogh was, I'm probably wrong, but I would say what I would consider like one of the first most successful abstract expressionist painters. They actually consider abstract expressionists to be an outdated, like if you like Google it, like
now,
it's kind of like old fashioned. Like nobody does that anymore.
What's in fashion in art now?
Oh my God, AI. I don't know.
Okay, yeah.
I feel like it's such a.
In the future, it's going to come around hopefully, and they go, "This is valuable." A lady named Adrian Stine actually painted this herself with a paintbrush and paint.
Yes, and it's funny because I'm actually constantly, as far as my process, now there's all these little things I do because I don't want my work to be able to be duplicated or people to be able to copy. Because I've had people come, there's been a few, I would say 2 legitimately where I was like, okay, people are like, this person's ripping you off. And I'm like, really?
How? By taking a cell phone?
By taking my style and just duplicating like this, the similar look that my work has. But that's why I'm always pushing the envelope on like my process. And there's lots of things I do. Like every piece I have somewhere, the drips are upside down.
To make it hard for them to copy it.
Exactly. Yeah. And there's things I hide in my work. Even the way I sign my pieces is hidden. And so there's like all these little things that I'm constantly doing like, oh, now I do.
What does Taylor Swift call those?
I don't know. What does she call them?
Where Easter eggs. Yeah, Easter eggs. Yeah. Where you kind of hide a little something in there, for your fans that are really into you and your work can see something that maybe other people can't.
And I'll hide. The first thing I ever learned to draw was a bird. And it's like, of course, like the little simple, like, right. I remember we were sitting in church. My mom was like, this is how you draw a bird. And so actually I'll like hide the bird just as like a hi to my mom in a lot of my paintings too, which I don't even know if she knows that.
Well,
but
she will.
She will now.
Well, let's, it's interesting because, you're now a professional painter, artist, and you were born and raised in Tyler, Texas.
Born and raised.
Right?
Yes.
I mean,
my hometown.
What year were you born?
I was born in 83.
All right, 1983, in the middle of the 80s. And so I guess you graduated from high school.
Yes. My dad's actually was in the military. And so my mom was a stay-at-home mom. And then my dad got out. He worked for Goodyear forever when I was growing up.
All right.
And so I went to Grace for a little bit. And then I finished at Lee.
All right.
And then I moved a month after graduation. I moved to California.
What year did you graduate?
2002.
Okay. So that kind of,
Yeah, I was here from 83 to 2002.
And when you moved to California, did you have, you weren't just in a Volkswagen van and headed out there.
No.
You had a plan?
Yeah, I had a plan. I went to school out there. I went to Mills College, which is a ladies' college in Northern California in Oakland. So I was there for a little bit.
Why did you choose that college?
Well, because I was going to be a lawyer.
Okay.
And so that was the track I was on. I actually got, I think, the first paid internship at the Smith County District Attorney's Office before I graduated. So my last year, I did an internship there. So my goal was to go to Mills College. It's the 4th oldest ladies' college in the country.
Kind of like Wellesley?
Yes, very prestigious, exactly like Wellesley. And so UCLA, Berkeley, and Stanford law schools
right there
at the time had a 4-to-1 men to women ratio. They reserved 20% of their spots for Mills women. So I would automatically be accepted to Stanford, and that was the goal.
But if you go to Stanford,
and I was going to be a lawyer.
If you go to Stanford, you're going to be a lawyer. It's like going to Harvard. You're going to be in Southern California or Northeast or something.
Yeah.
You're probably not going to be.
I probably would not have come back here.
Right. I mean,
I probably would not have. Yeah.
All right. So Mills College, do you stay there? Do you leave? What happened?
I was there for a couple of years, but it was just. I actually got a really good job, and I just was not. I felt like I was playing soccer also.
Oh, okay.
And it was too much, really, because I was on academic scholarship, and I just wasn't happy with what I was doing. And the more I think I was a very disillusioned 18-year-old, 20-year-old, in my early 20s. And I was like, wait, like everything's not pure, And so after a couple of my internships with different days offices, then I was just like, I don't know if I want to do this.
Well, I mean, I don't know that I don't see you, if you're a creative person, and this is not a criticism to anybody who watches this who worked for the DA's office, but because my dad worked at the DA's office when he started his career, but I never, I would never have any passion for prosecution. I mean, that's just not I was a horrible disciplinarian as a parent. What, I'm going to try to put a guy in jail?
Yeah, I was such a nerd. I really like the research part of it, and I really enjoy law. Like, I mean, even now, like people, like my friends will call me, and I'm like, well, actually, you can't, because I'm a researcher. Like, I love that part of it. But it definitely did not hold my attention. And then like a lot of things in life happened. I was engaged. I called my wedding off. I ended up losing my brother unexpectedly. And a lot of these...
That's a lot of action there.
A lot happened really quickly. And to be honest, I did not handle it well at all. And so that was a huge pivotal point in my life. I think, and honestly, I think my brother passing away was a huge catalyst to me turning to doing just art.
Something you loved, enjoyed instead of
it.
Trying to, it seemed like, I don't know if this is true, but I mean, you wanted to be a lawyer for your neither one of your parents were lawyers.
No, but they wanted me to be, they still want me to be.
They wanted you to have a career.
They want me to have a career, which is understandable.
Sure it is.
I mean, now as an adult, I see everything makes much more sense than whenever you're, you think you know everything when you're 20.
The economy is changing, though, very fast, right? I mean, you can state today with conviction, hey, you don't have to go to college to make more money than the next guy who went to college, right? Depending on the trade, depending on, entrepreneur.
It's crazy.
It is changing fast.
Like if it had been like this when I was in my 20s, I would be more successful than I am now because the climate is in a place where you can not have a degree and still do very well. Right. At the time,
you could have just had talent.
Yeah, but there wasn't really the doors for things have just changed so much. It's like you used to have a degree to be successful.
Now you don't do.
No, you really don't. And I mean, some would argue that that's a lot of money with not much payoff,
Well, certainly it is in all liberal arts colleges across the land, right? I mean, the debate is, is it worth
it
if you don't end up in a field that used that degree at all?
Well, and it's crazy too, because as I can be a professor at any school, and that's what I was doing.
UT Tyler, Professor Stine, welcome.
That was I was there, but a lot of the school districts pay more than any of the professorships here in Texas exponentially
at the college level.
Yes, even in Dallas. And at this point, what are you going to do? I already have the degrees now. But I'm sure that wasn't always the case. The school districts realize they have to pay more because no one's going to work there. And I think the colleges just haven't caught up. And so there's about $20,000 difference in pay if you're going to be a professor than if you're going to work for a district, which is crazy because of the credentials you have to have.
Yes.
But it is what it is. I
mean, I'm looking at it as an outside observer trying to analyze, and I can see it. The credentials are going to be higher for college, but the amount of work that you have to actually do during a calendar year is much less than the high school, right? I mean, that's kind of the...
It is. I feel like you get about 4 more weeks off. It's a much easier job.
And you're going to have to teach other classes, maybe?
Yeah, you have to teach other classes. So, if you're on a tenure track and have a full-time job teaching, I would imagine you're probably teaching 5 classes, which is, if there's studio classes, 3 hours. You have that 3 days a week, 5 classes, 3 days a week.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday. We all remember the college schedule. Hey, man, I'm not taking that 8 a.m. class.
It is. It's just unfortunate because the knowledge that you have to fill that position is why it's valuable. And that's the part that I think gets lost in translation, because maybe the hours, but the years you have to even be able to do that job is what is important. And that's what should be compensated.
Right.
Is having that skill set to even do that job. Even though, maybe you have more time off, but, I don't know.
I mean, I'm not having an opinion. I'm just simply saying, okay, there's that. But in that is, like you said, the lack of appreciation for the credentials, because if you don't have credentials at the college level, I mean, how do you hire somebody with any fairness or discernment as to who's talented and who's not?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, one man's black box is enough.
One man's, what is it? The banana with the duct tape?
Yeah.
Another man's trash. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, this is amazing. Can you not see what I see here?
Yeah.
So it could really get out of hand without the credentials.
Yeah, it could. And it does, and it's also very competitive. So they don't have to pay more because so many people are applying for that. Think about how many colleges there are. There's still only one painting professor, maybe 2 if it's a huge college.
Really? The whole college?
The whole college. And so, think about how many painters that would like to be professors that have the credentials there are. So it's very competitive. So they don't have to pay more because somebody's going to take that job, even if they don't,
You just made me think of something that's, it reflects, sometimes the lack of appreciation in American culture for art is that an actual, house painter can make more than a credentialed.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
Credentialed professional painter, right? I mean, when you said that, I thought to myself, I know people that make a lot more with no technical knowledge other than, hey, they can paint a right edge or they can tape in bed.
I've had people in town that had hire me to do a mural, then hassle me on the price. And then once I agree to give them a good deal, then they're like, by the way, I need it done in a week. And then they didn't like it. And I know for a fact how much they paid the people to just paint the wall white over it was more than they paid me to do,
I mean, what
hundreds of hours of work with it, in a week.
I mean, I don't know. You should get to know your clients better because that person didn't seem to appreciate you.
It's part of, it is. I call it getting my stripes, because some lessons you have to learn. I mean, some lessons you just learn the hard way and you don't ever get yourself in that position again.
Right.
And also some of it too is, I'm trying to figure out how to say this. Some of it is also trying to be a congenial business person, because as an artist, you have to sell your personality as much as your work.
And you have to
sometimes you have to take those jobs that are like, I know I'm worth more than
maybe it'll network me somewhere else.
Exactly. And you don't want to burn bridges. So you're like, okay, this is a huge pain for me to do. I'm not really going to make any money, but it'll give me the opportunity, this will be, seen here and da-da-da-da. It's a good relationship building. So some of it's like a give and take, and then some of it, that was an experience that was a good learning experience for me, because that'll never happen again.
I'll never do a mural for somebody who's not.
I'm never going to discount a mural, period. If you want it done faster, it's twice the price, actually. Why wouldn't it be, in retrospect? And you have friends. You try to hook everybody up sometimes. That's the part of it that's difficult as an artist, too, because you have to find the line. And because I'm a social person, so you have to also find the line to, I can't give everybody a price break. I have to make a living, right, And so sometimes you have to remind people, this is my job, this isn't my hobby. This is my business,
No, I understand.
And
but the friendlier you are,
yeah.
I mean, I guess people could take that the wrong way and take advantage of you.
Yeah, totally.
But you're developing your scar tissue.
Exactly.
You're getting tough,
That's, and smarter, much smarter.
Any artists locally that you came up with that you leaned on or learned from?
Locally, Alexis would be. She would be the one I've learned the most
obviously
from.
The one at UT Tyler. I just didn't know if there's if there's an artist crowd or group in time?
There are, but what's funny is I feel like my supportive artist group. Yes, like Autumn and Simon Solly, I went to school with. Their sculptures. They're the ones from San Antonio I was telling you about. They have a gallery now in San Antonio. When their gallery opened, I did the opening show, and it also gave me my first solo exhibition with them. So we still keep in touch. We still, always like, hey, check this out. There's this going on. There's this. Alexis is a huge one. But a lot of my artist community that I feel like have been so consistent are artists from other fields. It's like local musicians. Dustin Becker is a very good friend of mine. He does music around here. We've been friends for 20 plus years. And so, and then I have people like my friend Chris Patton. He's always played every art show that I have. He's normally my DJ. My good friend Ed Moore, he's a comedian. I think you had him on here too.
I did have Ed
There's
Moore.
lots of...
But no painters, no people that have been in your lane that says, hey, watch out for this.
Alexis is the one.
That's what
Yeah, Alexis Serio would be locally. She's the one that anything, even if it's 2 a.m, I'm like, hey, is this legit? Hey, I ran into this problem, having an issue getting paid from, this company, anything like that. She's been my wealth of knowledge that I tap into. I really don't know where I would be professionally without that kind of guidance.
Is there competition amongst artists?
Absolutely.
Like locally, that's why,
Huge.
It's like lawyers. Okay, say you've got some PI lawyers and you're not trying to tell them any of your secrets,
yes.
Because they're trying to get the same people you're trying to get.
Yes, and it's interesting. Tyler's interesting because there's the Tyler politics.
Right.
And when it comes to my art, I don't really play those games, and I don't really do gimmicks. I feel like my work sells itself, and so me as an artist, I put everything I have into the work I'm creating and then making sure that it's where people can access it. A lot of the successful artists here, people ask me, the best way I can explain it is I feel like we do different things. I make fine art. I'm a fine artist.
Well, and
a lot of artists here, they sell their work. And a lot of them sell more and make much more money than me, and their work is not even close to the quality of mine. But I don't go play all those,
right.
I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine.
You have
things.
to, unfortunately, or I don't even know if that's the right word, but politics is a part of everything.
It is part
in
of it.
Every community, everywhere. If you want to become a part of a group, group, right?
Yeah.
And access getting jobs, getting paid, right? You kind of have to mold your skill to what they want.
Yes. And some people here are very successful at doing that. I'm just a different painter. And so my work is what I do.
Right.
And so to me, it's I don't know if this is even making sense.
You're not painting it to go in a specific place because someone would like it and buy it. You're painting it because that's what you feel,
and
right?
I also don't use gimmicks to sell. I'm not oh, this is, made of East Texas dirt.
Oh. How about some oil paint from the Oil Palace?
Yeah. I don't do that kind of stuff because I don't feel like I have to. But for some people, they do very well doing
marketing.
That kind of stuff. It is. It is. It is. But there's definitely competition. I don't think it's direct. But also, it's just interesting because as an artist, I feel like I'm pretty judgy.
Yeah.
But it's because I put so much into my work. So when I see other artists that are not putting into their art what I put into mine, I feel like it's disrespectful to art itself, and maybe I'm just a snob, but I see some
You're a purist.
artists, I am, and I'm what are you doing? You didn't even put an underpainting on it. You didn't even paint the white of the canvas, and it bothers me because I'm how could you sell that? It's going to disappear in 30 years. It's going to disappear.
That's your technical training.
And my technical training is I'm trying to make this, that's why my advertising tagline is get yourself an heirloom, because my work will last generations. You can pass my work down. Some of the work that's sold around here is just cheap acrylic, and the problem is acrylic is it's plastic, and after 30 years it'll start to dissipate, and eventually it just will fade to nothing, literally. And I make oils archival so that like you can pass them on to your children or children's children. And so when I, to
yours
me,
are built to last.
mine are built to last, like what is it, like Chevy or something?
Yeah,
like,
I built Adrian Stine, her paintings, you can run over them with a truck. They built to last.
Funny story, that literally happened to me. I was going to hang at Susan Robinson, and I think I didn't have a boyfriend at the time. My parents were out of town, so my dad couldn't help me. And yeah, I had these, this really happened. I had these 7 by 6 foot pieces in the back of my friend's truck, and I was taking them to hang at Susan Robinson. Well, I always had, this is back years and years ago, so I know I can move everything by myself now. But at the time, I was just like, it's just around the corner.
The wind caught it?
I did not strap them down. And so I'm at old Jacksonville, and I look in the rear view, and I just see them fly out of the back, and they're just, and I was like,
the wind was catching them.
And so then I pull over, and then I got to wait. So I'm just watching people run over the oil paintings in the road. Yes. And there wasn't a tire track on them. Nothing. They looked perfectly
That's because you used to cured oils.
And that's exactly why. And I got there, and I was just like crying, and they were like, they look fine. And I was like, I know, I can't believe it. But I made them very well.
You should market your paintings. I mean, those will last.
They will last. Tried and true.
But I don't think people think about that when they buy art. A lot of times, I don't have that many pieces that I've had over 10 years, right? I mean, you move.
Totally. Your taste change.
You taste change. You outfit your place. You give yours away to your buddy or your kids or whatever. But being the purist that you are, when you paint with oils, I guess you want to use is there a better oil? Are there better paints?
I mean, and I can't, I wish I could use the ones I would like, all the really fancy everything, but you got to find a happy middle ground. But there's definitely ones that are archival or not. So those are the ones that last. And then there's also, the cost of oil paint is so funny because it depends on what color you want. Yes, because all the pigments are sourced from some mineral in the world. So some of them you can only get at a certain sea, like 50 feet under in France. And so like that exact, shade of French ultramarine blue is, maybe $70 for a tube this big.
Is that because it's hard to extract where it is? Yes.
And also and then depending on like what whites you're using. That's a huge thing. I use more white than any other, and I have all these different whites that I use because they all do different things. So also depending on like the whites that you use, like you can pick up this brand may be $20 cheaper for the same tube. You hold the tubes, and this one weighs probably, ounces more.
Why is that?
Because they say there's no lead in it, but whatever the modern replacement of lead content is going to be higher in the one that's heavier. And so there's lots of things like that if you have to consider whenever you're the materials. So
is that a thing to consider the materials?
Yes.
And if so, for what reason? What's the reason that you consider the materials?
Some of them is because they're so thinned out. So when you use it on the canvas, like if something bumps into it, it could scratch off because the pigment is such low content to the oil, like in the tube of paint, for example, right? Another one, but sometimes that's good. There's a transparent, I get it's one of the cheapest brands, and it's Soho, and it's their rose madder. But I love the Soho rose madder because it's so transparent. So I do really thin layers on when I'm painting, and it makes it to where depending on the time of day it is, you'll get a different hue. On the piece will change colors throughout the day because of the way I layered this. So I use that cheap one, but then some of them you don't want to use a cheap one because you want it also to, if they're too watered down, it's not going to cure properly. When you finish an oil painting, it takes 12 months to dry all the way through each layer of paint. Really? So about a year to dry.
Because I've seen you talk about and read about paints cure.
Yeah.
You think about it. Well, I've heard that word cure, but usually somebody's telling me about the concrete that they just poured and we got to let the concrete
wine
cure.
And so I compare it to wine because I feel like people understand that. So there's So once I finish a piece, you don't know how the colors are going to cure, especially if you're experimenting with
Are they going to change color?
Yes, they'll change colors. So if you do the painting properly, the colors should cure for 4 to 8 years about. So the colors should get deeper and settle in. Like especially when I was younger, because I didn't know as much about mixing color and the whole process. That's my whole thing is color now. So I've gotten pretty good at it. But before, like maybe I do a painting and then 3 or 4 years down the line, I look at it and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so green because the colors.
You like green.
I do like green.
I mean, your primary colors are like green, teal, and towards the blue.
Yeah, maybe. The pinks too.
And pinks. That's
yeah,
right.
Pinks too. But like, the intention of that piece maybe wasn't that. I fine-tuned it to where that doesn't happen as much. Now I kind of know how the colors are going to cure. I know which colors not to use and what colors that are like a definite yes. And then a lot of that too is like, which white did you use to mix? So you might have this beautiful, vibrant pink. And then a year down the line, it looks kind of dull. And that's because, I didn't use a...
At least the customer's already bought it.
No, that's true. These are things also that like a normal person does not pay attention to.
Okay.
Like, I noticed these. Not. Yeah. So then 48 years, the colors cure and then the piece is set. And so like that's what it's going to be. And it actually dries the same chemical compound as glass. So that's why they last so long too. That's why if you have a very old oil, like hundreds of years old, they say if you ever try to take it off the stretcher, sometimes it'll just shatter into pieces. So...
Well, paint itself, let's explore that since, you're a painting professional artist. Mm-hmm. Paint in a tube, what is that, compared to what people might recognize as paint in a can that they might, roll on the wall?
So the difference is between what they roll on the wall is going to be a latex, which is a form of acrylic base. Acrylic is plastic-based, water-based. So any house paint, any interior or exterior house paint, any latex.
On the wood, latex.
Mm-hmm, any of that is going to be some form of acrylic.
All right. Now, what's in the paint tubes that you paint with that's different?
It's oil. So your oil, you're going to have your pigments, which is technically just a powder.
Where do you get that from?
Well, it just depends on the color. So like rose madder pigment is actually a beetle in like South Africa, I think.
What, they dry it out, grind it?
They dry them out. They take their butts off. They just grind up their butts and it gives these really pretty pink.
I mean, where do these come? Are there companies out there that are sourcing all of these colors and making for art?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Winsor & Newton is probably they've been around forever. And then Gamblin, those are two major, I use both of those. And they're great, but those are two major oil paint companies and they specialize. They've been around for over 100 years, if not
probably
200.
So. I can't see
200
new companies breaking into that business.
And they have it down to like Gamblin. I could talk about their materials forever because they're also like constantly coming up with new oils. Linseed oil is a very traditional because when you do oil paint, you have your paint, and then you have a paint thinner of sorts. I use Terpenoid Natural that you do on your first layer, and also to clean brushes and stuff. And then you have an oil. So it can be linseed oil is the standard traditional, but you can also use walnut oil if you want like a browner hue or higher gloss. You can use safflower oil.
There's Why do you use oil? Do you put oil?
You have to mix it. So if you only use the oil paint out of the tube, it's going to give you a very matte look and it's going to crack.
Okay.
So you have to mix.
Thick.
Yes. And they're not, oil paint is you can never use it just out of the tube. You have to mix it with either a thinner or with an oil.
All right. Do you mix that with other colors and make your own colors at any point in time?
Yes. I do that first. So actually when I'm about to start painting, first thing I do is mix a palette. So that's all the colors I'm going to use for the next couple of
I've got me a wooden thing with some colors around here, like I've seen in the movies.
Yes, except for my palettes are glass, so I can reuse them. And I do big work, so I'll have like 3 glass palettes that I fill with however many colors. And I just mix. And when I'm mixing a palette, I don't paint that day. I only mix color because I have to really focus on that. So once I get all my colors mixed, then I'll paint off that palette for like a week or 2 weeks until all the paint's gone.
All right. So
that's the whole thing.
You're mixing paints for your palette. to start a painting that you have no idea what you're going to paint.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? You don't even know if it's going to be a cityscape,
no idea,
a figure, a flower, anything.
Right.
So, and then you're going to use all that paint of the colors that you've decided to put out there, not knowing what you're going to paint.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a series of one of your series that comes out of this.
Yeah. And I normally have, because they're oils, so you have to wait for them to dry between layers. So I always have.
You can think about it.
I always have 3 to 5 going at once. And I'll kind of bounce around between the two.
Okay.
But I'll have the same palette that I'm working off for that body of work, generally speaking.
All right. So visually, we see you in your studio. Like, do you have a place that you like to paint that like is kind of, you feel more inspired and you do better in, or is it just anywhere?
Actually, I love that you asked that question because, like, ideally, like, yes. But in the real world,
it's hard.
In the real world, yeah, like, it's just me. So I have a little studio in the back of my apartment. And when I landed at this apartment in Dallas, I knew I was going to have a small studio space, and the lighting in there is great, but I did not know that the floors are not level at all. So like one corner is like 8 inches down, one's like 2.
I mean, that's
one's
really,
like 4. It's raised in the middle.
I mean, you have to saw one end off your easel that holds your paint.
I have my easel right in the middle because that's like the most level. But I have actually, I'm really glad you asked that because this is part of like what we were talking about before. When I first moved, I was like, okay, fine. I'll be here for 6 months, maybe a year, and then I'm going to get out of here and move somewhere better.
You talking about, I'm going to...
At my apartment.
In Tyler?
In Dallas.
In Dallas, okay.
Because I had at my house here, I had a wonderful studio and a very large workspace because I had a whole house here. So initially when I moved, I was like, oh, well, so I was like, I can't work in these conditions.
Which conditions?
The floor's not being level.
Oh, that one.
And and it's really tiny too. But like the floor's not being level is the hugest because it's very uncomfortable to work in.
It's hard.
You're like trying to mix a palette and you're like on an incline, you know?
And it's hard if it's not that big. You said you got 3 to 5 paintings working at any given time.
So you're also like very crammed in there. Well,
I mean, that's not solitude to me.
No, and the thing is, so after a certain amount of time, life happens to everybody. And so then I, ended up having a job change and all this other stuff. And I'm still in this apartment. But eventually I had to get over that. Because I was like, what am I not going to paint for however long it's going to take me to get out of this? Like, that's not... Also, I had to really think about it. And I was like, what do you do? Like, who do you think you are?
You're going to have to overcome all these things that
I
are
was
less...
like, who do you think you are? You're not there yet. You don't get to pick where you work.
But it would be nice to have a little better place.
It would be amazing. But also, I had to get over it. And actually, I'm really glad that I did because the work that I've made since I've been in that tiny, crooked studio, I've made it come out with some amazing work. But I had to get over that ego part in order to continue to do my job. And so it's been, like I said, it's a process, but you're always learning. You're always growing. And it's been really good to go through that growth process. And I feel like because I'm like, okay, universe, like, did I do it? Like, did I pass this test? I feel like eventually I'm going to look back and laugh at these things. But I also feel like it's such a huge part of I feel like sometimes the universe is like, how bad do you want it?
Right.
Like, do you really want it?
Here's a hurdle. Can you jump this? Or are you just going to...
Or are you just going to sit there and throw a fit about it and
Because I know how it is.
I know, and it's so hard.
In the work I do, where I produce and have to think and dictate, which I dictate, demands, tell people's story. Sometimes everything has to be just right. It's like, you know what I'm saying? It has to be at a certain point in time. Either I had not eaten too much, I turn a fan on to make some noise. You almost have to create the environment where you feel like you're the most productive.
Yeah, you do. You do. And I had to, and then that's part of it too, but some of it was... That is part of it.
And if there's something irritating, then that is like...
Well, and that's what I had to adjust my expectation, but I also had to adjust my mindset to where, okay, things are not going to be exactly like you want them all the time. Like, I still have to be able to get my mind right so that I can sit down and work. I can't be so caught up with this idea that I need a perfect workspace because, that would be ideal. I'm limited on the size of pieces I can make right now because I don't have a wall
big enough
to do the sizes I would like to be doing. So, but that just, I'm like, okay, so put that on the back burner. That's a goal for when I move,
Because you get paid on non-commissioned stuff, certain amount of money per square inch.
Yeah, my standard price is $2 per square inch.
All right. And you've gotten smarter on the murals. I think they go for $5,000 or something.
Yeah, that's my minimum.
Yeah.
I have a minimum now.
I saw your pricing and I thought, she must be real confident about those murals. And no, I think that pricing comes from a bad experience.
Yeah, and lots of experience. And I did lots of murals when I was working for UT. So we did the Discovery Science Place, the Blue Wall. We did that one. And then there's 5 of them that actually I headed up when I was a TA, when I was in grad school there, that are within the university. And so I have lots of mural experience too. And that's a fair price, actually. When all the materials, I don't think people realize the amount of work that goes into murals the layers. It's so much.
Man, I could put a stencil out there and do that, for $1,000.
Yeah.
Right? People.
Yeah, it's a novel idea. And then when you get to work on it, the Discovery Science Place is a perfect example. It's like, oh, yeah, it looks great, right? Well, we had a honeycomb I painted the honeycomb. We don't realize as you're working on these old bricks.
Right.
And everything has to be in the right place. We're working on these old bricks, so they're all different lines, but you have to make sure that line you're painting
looks straight.
the correct. Yeah. And you're taping and untaping. And so it's a whole process, on the murals.
Your work, we talked about murals. We know commission work in your business is someone says, I want you to paint me something specifically, or
yes,
I want you to paint me something like you did before, or they have a request.
Yes. Yes.
And then you agree on that price, right? And you do that for people now.
Yes.
Have you developed, people in Dallas since you've been up there that have identified you, met you, or most of your people where you came from because they knew you and you were here longer?
Most of my clientele right now is based here. I've sold, throughout the United States, but even a lot of my contacts I've sold work to that aren't here in Texas or people that I've known before. So I have a pretty good following. Dallas, I'm still kind of breaking into
I was
going
to use that word.
Yeah.
Is it true wherever you go? There's a niche, there's an in group, and you got to break in. It doesn't matter where you go.
Yeah, and Dallas is Dallas. So
Dallas is
Dallas. It's a lot of who you know. Luckily, I love meeting people. I'm a very social person.
But the artist people seem to be more generally described as progressive, helpful, open to new ideas and new people. Generally, that's the description that you get.
That's the description.
Okay.
I don't know.
You're saying you haven't met that in the painting world?
I haven't met them yet.
The painting world has not embraced it.
No, not yet. Now, I am new, so I'm kind of just...
They're feeling you out.
They're feeling me out, and I'm feeling them out, too. I think a lot of it... I'm kind of that way. I kind of like to sit and watch, take notes, and kind of see. So I do try to go to as many openings as I can. I have a few galleries I have my eye on that I would love to show in, that I think my work is right up their alley. So
when you go there to the openings,
yes,
do you identify, people that run the thing and give them your card and say, "Hey"?
Not yet, but I'm working. I'm working on that part.
This is a confidence boost here for you today.
Yeah, right now I'm just going and I'm talking to people and I don't say anything.
Hey, I've got art.
I don't even tell people.
Sure, you do. Everybody's got art. That's what they say.
I don't even. I'm not even there.
Why?
I am just because
go for it.
I want to go. I want to find out who everyone is first.
Okay.
And then I want to approach the people that I'm interested in.
You're still reading the room, and the room is the collective art society in Dallas.
Yes. And it's, that's a whole spectrum too.
There's a lot of money to buy art in Dallas, Texas.
There's a lot of money to buy art in Dallas, Texas.
And if somebody favored you or took a liking, put you in a gallery, you started selling some stuff, it could go from...
Absolutely. I'm trying to figure out where I want my work to be first.
Well,
because here's why. Because I did put my stuff in a few shows and stuff, and a lot of them, the ones that I did to this point were not what I'm looking for.
Do you care where it is? If someone buys it and takes it home? I mean, is that...
No, but see, that's the problem is I did a lot of the gigs that I've done so far were so much work and I didn't sell anything. I'm like, no, this is not my clientele. This is not the space my work shows best in. So now what I'm trying to do is kind of pinpoint, which I have a short list, is like, okay, this is where I'm going to, because I can tell when I can know where my clientele is. I know where my work is going to sell at. So I've done some collective group shows, and that's just not where my work ever sells. It's unfortunate, but I can't. There's like kind of like the vendor side of it, like doing like the Arts Fest and stuff. It's just, I don't know why, but my work will never sell in that setting.
All right. Well, let's show people what you are and what you have, and we'll try to dig down. We're going to go through your series of painting. Okay. Let's go to this is the green series, and I'm assuming that this is not a cityscape, but a landscape of sorts.
Like a naturescape of sorts. This is also one of my newest pieces. This is a 5x6 foot. It's called Turtles in the Grass, Snakes in the Grass?
Snakes in the Grass. I think I looked at it. Yes. Okay. So you name them.
Yes.
I'm showing everybody the series. Under the series, you have several different paintings that are oil paintings, right? That are in what you would consider or call the green series.
Yes.
And that for you, the green series means what environment or what type of paint?
So the green series actually, I started the green series as I do work. Then I realize as I'm finishing pieces, like, oh, this is probably part of this series. So I'm constantly adding to it. The green series, yes, go ahead.
Adding to
the series,
the number of series, right? Because
because I'm always like the one I'm working on now.
You only had one series, the first painting.
Yeah, exactly. So now that their series are growing, and then I'll constantly like adding to those as well. The green series actually was I was just doing some studies on just color in general, and I was reading about green, and the human eye actually sees more shades of the color green than any other color. Green is also the color of your heart chakra. And so I thought that was an interesting correlation that the color that people see the most of, that the humans see most of, was also the same color that's correlated to your heart. I feel like there's something there, And so I know
you like green.
I like green, yeah.
I mean, ChatGPT said green and turquoise were some of your favorite colors.
Oh, that's interesting. I did not know that.
And sea marine blue or something.
Okay.
And pink. Those were the ones.
Interesting. Oh, okay, cool. I love that they said that about me.
All right, so let's go to the Salon series, which this is the series that my painting that I own would be under if you still had it.
Yes.
You don't have another one, do you?
Another of the lady? No, I only do one. There's only singles. Yeah.
Is mine called anything?
Yes, yours is called Gabby, I believe. All the girls are named. So yours is Gabby. I'm pretty positive.
Well, good. I mean, I'm not sure I knew that.
Yeah. So look on the back of it.
Okay.
On the top of the back is the title, 1 of 1, oil, signature, and then it's numbered on the bottom left. And then when I painted it is on the bottom right. So I think yours is spring 2026.
Right. It had to be. Okay. Yeah. So Gabby's in there. Gabby's a woman. And, the Salon series represents, I guess, women at the core, and then it kind of goes into wherever you take it as to what setting they may be in.
Yes. And so I think we chatted a little about this earlier, but so the Salon series is a couple of things. One is it's a play on the word salon, because a salon is a traditional French way of hanging a gallery. And so if you hang it salon style, then it's lots of different size and shape pieces nestled onto one wall. And then the other side of that is like the salon is where women go to get done up.
Yeah, this is kind of a double entendre. Yeah. It means two different things.
It means two different things.
And it's creative on your part.
I do. I love to write, so I do try to play with the words.
Real artists mightn't get it if they looked at your website, right?
Yeah.
Because all of this is at your website. A lot of this stuff is for sale, and it's indicated that it's for sale, and some of it's displayed, but right?
Yeah, so my website pretty much has like the majority of my work over the last 20 years is in there, and then my shop has everything that I have available. So yeah, you can find
that's right.
You can find everything
There's a shop.
on there.
There's a shop section towards it. Okay. All right, let's go to the next series. Okay, the Jungle series. Now, this is a little, I mean, I can see it. Okay. I see some kind of wild cat in there. I can see a face. I don't know if I see some, I wouldn't call it mosquito wings, but I would say, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, the longer you stare at something, it's like looking at the clouds, right?
Yeah, it is.
You start to go, hey, is that a skull?
You're like, wait, is that? Yeah. And actually, it's funny because people tell me faces. I hear that a lot. Faces and horse heads. I hear more than anything.
Yeah, I mean,
they're in there. This is, like I said, this is a much older piece. This is a 7 by 6 foot. Actually, a friend of mine has just downtown, actually. But so I can show you what I see, but sometimes I don't like to because I like to see what other people see. But there's see the orange beak? Uh-huh. There's a bird head here, his little chest and his little bird feet. It's almost like something.
I mean, I can see the bird now. Yes.
Yeah. But I mean, this was the jungle series. I want to say this is when I was working on my BFA for my bachelor's. And so it was the beginning of my, play on animals, basically.
This piece at the bottom, it almost looks like a 3-dimensional puzzle piece, partially.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does.
But I mean, after you finish this, you go, do you look at them after you finish, or do you kind of know where they're going as you're working on multiple pieces each day, stepping back, and taking a look?
It's a little bit of both, but I really normally I don't know what they really are until like the end.
All right.
Or close to the end. And so because this is so long ago, I remember making this one. I had I didn't have as strong as a grip on my process as I do now. So
you've evolved.
I've evolved a lot since this piece.
Well, that's good. I mean, I can't imagine that you started off and were the same painter as you are today.
No, not at all. Not at all. It's definitely grown a lot.
All right. Let's go to the next series, Chris.
Yes.
All right. Cityscapes. You used that word before, right?
Yes. So the interesting thing about, which again, a lot of this I figured out took years to really even put my finger on. But what's funny is, I grew up in Tyler, Texas.
Right.
I grew up very much a country girl. I mean, my mom's maiden name is Dewberry. Like, there's a country girl that's at heart. And I grew up running around the woods. My best friend had a pony named Rosie. We would just spend the entire summer on her farm, walking around the woods, picking blackberries on Rosie till the sun started going down. And so the naturescapes, I know I'm pulling from that. When I was 18, I moved to California, and I went from East Texas, from Tyler, Texas, to the Bay Area, which is I think 9 million people, a very small space.
San Francisco Bay
Area.
Yes,
I was 20 minutes from San Francisco. And so, I mean, just like that, I was in the city.
Culture shock.
It was culture shock, but I also fell in love with it. And it was interesting because I found a lot of correlations. I mean, you could just walking around the woods my whole childhood and then wandering around the city, to me, are very much the same thing. And you can do both of them by yourself, which I was most of my life. And so it's funny because the cityscapes, I feel like I started pulling from that time in California and pulling from my time in the cities and not knowing anybody.
Well, probably you didn't have any visual for cityscapes before you went to California.
No, exactly.
Unless you've been watching a lot of movies.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think that definitely is where that came from. And kind of, I fell in love with the cities. I fell in love with feeling very comfortable, just as, if not more comfortable, like in a big city than in a small town, because it's easy to get lost, and I don't really care much for a lot of direct attention. So I don't mind getting, I kind of like being able to get lost in the city.
And I know what you're saying. I'm born and raised in Tyler, and now with the personal injury and the commercials, the advertising, the stuff, it's made me more visible, and certainly the podcast too.
Yeah.
But when you go to Dallas, it almost, I know what you're saying. My wife and I enjoy it so much because you do get lost in the city.
Yeah, and it's kind of nice.
It is nice.
If I don't want to talk to somebody all day, I can make it where I don't talk to anyone all day.
Yeah, I mean, if I was accidentally a butt to the waiter, nobody saw me.
Yeah, totally. They're like, that's kind of the beauty of it.
I'm sorry. I won't be that way.
No, you're good.
Okay, let's go to the next series. All right, the V Record series. Okay, V stands for what?
I can't believe you put this up here. So actually, the V records. Actually, this is a very short stint.
You discontinued it.
Yeah, that one's done.
Okay, well,
that one we're never going back to the V record.
No, that's okay. I mean, it was.
I'll explain it, but
it's trial and error.
It is. So this piece, actually, I love this painting. This is very old. This is called Barstow, but the V records was actually. I dated this DJ on and off for like a few years, and he was a DJ. And so, the B records is always like the ones you don't really put out.
There's the A side and the B side.
Yeah. And
right?
So, yeah.
There's B movies.
Exactly. The B movies are like not the, they're like the middle ones. So actually, I was just really mad after this breakup.
And so the
guy did not end up being the wonderful person I thought he was.
The V is reference to him.
So yeah, that was his nickname.
All right. And the record series, it doesn't mean, it's not a reflection of what the painting tells you.
No.
It's simply a reflection of the time, to the man who was spinning records.
Yeah. And also, I feel like I had actually my first really big show here in Tyler that I had with who's basically my patron, Dr. Briber. A show we threw right downtown was called Wearing Out the Vinyls.
Where did you throw the show? This
was actually, I'll have to ask you this. This is at I don't know if you remember the Coffin Shop, but it was what used to be a coffin shop. It's right when you're going downtown, right before you turn on Irwin. There's a couple of apartment buildings, and one of them had a basement that was really just a bunch of trash and stuff. They called it the Coffin Shop because they used to have coffins in there for sale.
Oh, really?
And so I just knew the space because my friend lived upstairs and we'd seen it. And so we got in touch with the owners and asked if we could clean it up and have an art show in there. And it ended up so cool. It looked like you were in New York City. I think they even wrote about it in the paper. I mean, this is 15 plus years ago, but that one actually, another again with the two parts, the dichotomy of the meaning of the word. But I also felt like I was like looking at all these paintings I'd done, and I can look at these paintings and I remember exactly what was going on in my life, exactly what was happening. And so when I look at my paintings, to me, they are like records.
They're like a song.
Yeah,
like
and it's like, oh, this was this part. Yes, exactly.
Chicago's, hard to say I'm sorry. I'm thinking of, a woman who left me or something,
Yeah, exactly. So when I look at my pieces, not only to me, they are
Thanks, Leanne.
Yeah, there you go.
Still can't get you out of my head.
Exactly.
I mean, it's true, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Urban Cowboy, look what you've done to me. I mean, I'm a mess.
Exactly. And I listen to a lot of music when I work too. So then with that show that we had here in Tyler, I thought, man, if I had been listening to records this whole time, I would have worn out all my vinyls. Because, if you listen to it enough, they start to that part of the song, you listen to that song enough on a record, it kind of, the needle, you'll wear out the record because you overplayed it too much.
Can you put on a show? I mean, you have enough inventory, like if you were back in the day in the coffin below ground, I mean, would you have enough stuff to set up? And
yeah, if I had a couple weeks, I could throw a show. I'm working on getting some stuff. I want to do one here because I want to do a fundraiser for the residency that I'm got accepted into in France. And so I'm working on actually building my inventory now that I have some weeks in the summer off. So I'm like, that's my goal actually. So I am hoping to do one here in Tyler. I'm not sure where yet.
When would you want to do it?
Probably July. I would say like mid-July.
For anybody who has interest in helping, even if it ends up being me, after I vacate this building and it's empty.
Yeah, totally. I mean, like mid-July, I literally just stocked up on so much.
I have no parking.
to try to, that's okay, we're going to work around the parking. But yeah, like mid-July, sometime in July, early August.
Okay.
Because I would like to do something here. I wanted to do a show before I left.
When are you going to France? Because tell the audience, you qualified, you got something.
Yes.
Where you're going over to France to do what? So
I got accepted into one of the top artist residencies in the world. It's at Chateau de Orquevaux, which is in Champagne-Ardenne, France.
Which just means it's the area that they make champagne.
Yes, it's the countryside. And so you actually go, the artist residency is for musicians, writers, and then also visual artists from all over the world.
What's the purpose
of a residency.
What are they trying to accomplish by bringing these artists together?
So the purpose of the residency is a fewfold. Mainly, it gives the artist an opportunity to completely submerge yourself in your work without distraction. Because
solitude.
In order to do that, it is so impossible to do that, especially over an extended amount of time. That's what I loved about grad school, because every day I could go into the studio and just paint. And it's really, you reach another level in your work when you're able to focus on it like that.
Like a musician practicing all the time.
Yes. And you'll see bands, like really accomplished musicians, they'll go away with the band to some remote location, just them, and work. The Mamas and the Papas did that. And they went and lived on a mountainside, I think in Costa Rica or something, for like a month or 2 months with everybody, just so that they could make music. And so there's something about the isolation and being able to focus where your work goes to a whole other level. And so that's kind of the idea behind the residency, is to provide, they're normally in remote locations, and to provide a space for artists to come and be able to just focus on their work. And then the collective of having that creative mind around you is so important. That's another thing that I loved about being in grad school, because you're constantly surrounded with that other creatives. And so you're constantly...
Other creatives being other types of creative people?
Yes. And whether that be, writers, musicians, or also other visual artists.
And that may in some way, an invisible way, inspire, rub off.
Yes. And it's
influence.
And that's why, even like we were talking about earlier with like my community of like artistic friends, even if that's why I love having friends that are musicians, because I love music. I'm very into music, but being able to talk about the creative process, it translates among different mediums. So even if I'm talking to somebody that plays the guitar, but I paint, we can still discuss our process of creating and struggles and challenges and successes.
Because it's all a process, no matter what you're creating.
It is.
And it's like, what is your process? Y'all can all have that in common.
Yeah. So it's always very interesting, because you can't talk about these things with
just normal
other
guy.
People are just going to be like they're going to be bored of it. What are you talking about?
What? I'm in the process of trying to get out of here.
Yeah. So it's twofold. So the France trip has been pushed back because I have to raise the rest of the funds for it. I got a grant for half of it, and then I have to raise the funds for the rest of it.
How long will you be gone?
I'll be gone for, hopefully, the residency is 3 weeks, but I'm going to try to stay in Europe for 3 and visit, because I've never been to Europe.
3 and 3. Okay.
Yeah. So hopefully I'll be gone for 6 weeks. If not, then I'll be gone for 3.
And you've raised, I guess, how much do you have to raise? So you've got to have a fundraiser, which may be an art exhibit.
Yes. I need about $8,000.
Okay. Because it's expensive. You got to,
And that's just to pay for the residency. Luckily I have like a really good following. I have a couple of my clients that I've worked with for a long time that have offered to like cover my airfare and like, small parts like that. But the residency itself, because it includes, so basically you go live at the chateaus. This is a beautiful chateau built in the 1600s. And you go live there for 3 weeks, and it provides you with all 3 meals for the day for 3 weeks.
Okay, that's
And
good.
then you get a private room and a private studio to work in. So that's the cost, is the leftover cost of that part of it. So
when is the last time you've had any type of day job or something to help supplement, your burgeoning art career?
Oh, well, I'm teaching. I'm back in the classroom teaching. I was a director for a fine arts restoration company. That was the job I took to move me to Dallas.
Okay.
And then unfortunately the company was sold and went under, almost went under. And so everybody was laid off. And so I actually am back in the classroom now teaching for DISD. And I'm also doing some for like curriculum development. So
you're out for the summer though.
I'm out for the summer. I survived. I'm so happy.
So now we've got the residency can fit in this, in the summertime.
Yes, absolutely. And they tell you when you apply, it takes a year to hear back. And they got back to me in 3 weeks because they were really impressed with my work. And so
do you have to submit a portfolio of some kind?
Yeah, you have to submit a portfolio, and then like the application itself, and they ask you some like questions about your work and stuff. And so
that's encouraging.
It is.
And I don't know anything about this place, if they're looking for people that they think have potential.
Yeah, what's interesting is I've applied for so many residencies in the States all these years, and I've never even gotten a bite. This is kind of the issue I've had with the galleries too. I just like don't get selected. And then
I mean, you look artsy.
Well, thank you. I can't help it. I
mean, if I saw you, I'd say, "Golly, that's a dadgum artist over there." I mean,
thank you.
But I'm serious. I mean, you've got the look. Man.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you mean? I mean,
so I don't even know.
Did you send a photo in of yourself?
No, there was no pictures of myself.
That's the problem.
I know. But so I was so happy to actually get selected, and I felt like it was a little bit telling too, because there's a whole world out there. I'm very excited at the opportunity to have my work on a platform where I can reach more people, because that's kind of my whole shtick anyway. And so I'm super excited at the opportunity. And I was shocked. Like, as soon as I got it, the first thing I did, I text Alexis 2 a.m. I was like, "Hey, I got accepted. Is this real? Is this a scam?" Surely, this is probably a scam.
Is this a real place?
And she was like, "No, I've heard of it." She's like, "It's real." And then she called me the next day, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, this is a big deal." And I was like, "Okay, I thought it was a big deal," but then I was also like, "No way," So,
how do you think this will help you? Do you think it'll help you as a artist, or do you think it'll help you expand, kind of your footprint where other people might appreciate and know you as a real artist?
Both. I think the biggest one is the second. So yes, I like meeting people where I can get my work out there on a bigger, the art industry is so funny because there's so many.
You're battling from Tyler, Texas. I mean, you're like a salmon.
Well, and it's funny too, because the size of work I do, there's not that many people that do the size of work I do.
Let's go to the next shot, Chris, and see if that. Okay.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to segue into what you were saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the size of work I do, there's not a lot of people that work in that size and that do oils, and so that's already sets me apart. The other thing, to be blunt, is that most of the work that's that size is just kind of crappy. It's not that great. And so,
do you need to feel most of the canvas when you do big work in order for it to be acceptable, or is it okay in the art world to have a huge canvas and it only be a few things on there?
No, you can only have a few things on there. I think a lot of totally.
That's the banana, and the
the duct tape. Yeah. I think definitely you don't have to fill all of it. I just have a heavy hand, so I work big. I think my strongest work is my largest work because I have enough space to get it all out. Well, the smaller I work, I find things get very crowded.
It's confining.
Yes, it's confining, and I want to see the rest of the picture. So the bigger I went, the more I was like, "Oh, this feels better. This feels better." This is a 5x10 foot. I did 2 5x10 foots for my MFA exhibition, which is what this is from.
Have you ever chopped or cropped or cut any of your paintings? Where you did a thing and then you made it smaller because you saw something, inside of that painting that looked better?
When I did prints for a short stint, I did that to some pieces where I would basically "Oh, this is really nice.
That looks good right in there."
Yeah, and I'd take a little portions of it out, and then that would be a print. So I did some of that.
I mean, I'm just out here, thinking out loud.
But generally, if I see something like that, then I'm like, okay, let me make another one. Let me make one that is this part that I want to pull out.
Can you reproduce your work if you tried?
No, I could.
That's what I wouldn't think so.
No, I could do something. No, I could do something similar, but it would never be. I can never do duplicate
because that would be you doing something you don't do.
I tell everyone I can't even draw a straight line, and I really can't. And so to paint another picture, oh my God, I don't think I could ever.
No, well, I mean, if you tell me your process is to start off with a palette and not know what you're going to paint, it'd be really different for you to say, "I'm going to paint this."
Yeah, and I've tried to duplicate, and I can't. That's when I figured out. This is when I realized that I don't work that way. So it's very.
I mean, what we know about you and what we've learned so far is that you've had the credentialed training that you need to be a true professional artist, and you've worked under someone who has been successful at that as well.
Absolutely.
You're also in the dues paying part of your life.
Yes.
And you've migrated to big oil paintings being kind of what you think you will be known for in the future?
I think so. I think so. I would like to get, I'm in the process. I would like to get in. I enjoy doing public works also. So and I work big. So I like doing murals also, but oil is really my forte. That's my strong suit, and I'm really good at it. And so the things, my mind, like the places I want to go with my paintings, like I'm working on getting together paperwork for a grant that I'm applying for. And the reason I would need the grant is I want to call the body of work Colors for the Blind. And so I actually had a blind uncle growing up, and he was an amazing artist before he went blind. So he actually got me into painting. And so the study I want to do is having to do with how, just like in music, there's notes and tones that like naturally heighten your dopamine and serotonin levels in your brain. And colors do the same thing.
Are there specific colors that do that more than others?
There are, but that's what they say.
Are they blues, pinks, and greens?
So no, but see, this is why I want to do this body of work, because I want to research it. But so actually they say they're like reds and yellows, and I just like don't know that I agree with that, but that's what they say. But the idea behind the body of work is that I want to focus on people that are visually challenged, the people that are on the spectrum of color blindness one way or the other. I wonder if I make this body of work, people, especially those that have color blindness, are able to go through, look at the body of work, see how it makes them feel, have some way to leave feedback. But then the reason I want a grant so I can get the money for it is then have chromio glasses, have at least like 1 or 2 sets where somebody who's colorblind can go back through this show and look at all the pieces with chromio glasses, which cause a person that's colorblind to see the full spectrum of color like we all do, and then get feedback on how the work made them feel. Because I wonder if you can't see the colors with your eye, if you can still perceive how they make you feel. And that's kind of where the research comes into.
But would there be a grant? I mean, like generally grants are out there for, I don't know if minority is the right word, but like smaller segments of society, like you mentioned, as opposed to just the general population, right?
I mean, that's what they say, but in my experience, I've never really benefited from any minority.
Well, no, what I'm
the one
I mean like minority in the sense of like someone who can't see or is colorblind. It has a minority, niche.
Yeah.
Like most people are not colorblind.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
That's just my personal like interest kind of that I want to kind of see how it affects people that are.
That's just a curiosity.
Yeah, that's just mine. The McDermott grant that the Dallas Museum of Art gives away is one I have my eye on, and then the one we were talking about earlier. There's one in Seattle that the city's doing.
McDermott grant. What would that do for you if you got that?
It would give me the money to make the work. So that's why.
What work? What you just described, or anything?
No, it would. So for a grant like this, then you have to send in your proposal.
And you've done
like this is the body of work. I'm working on it now.
Okay.
And so so then you send in like, oh, this is the body of work I want to make. This is why. And then if they think it's interesting enough, then they give you the money to do it.
Seattle is more. You've applied to present your portfolio in a gallery.
So Seattle, they actually have a citywide initiative on basically beautification of Seattle. In Pioneer Square, which is their downtown area, there's lots of vacant storefronts. And so the city went through, bought them up, fixed them up. They were like ready to go, individual gallery spaces. So if you get a grant for the Seattle one that I'm interested in, they give you the money and the location. And the only hitch is you have 2 weeks to have the gallery up and running.
Okay, so you show up and
I show up and I set up the gallery.
How long do you stay there?
I think it's for 3 months, and then if you're successful, a percentage of the artists that they've let show, they will ask to stay. And so then if I did well,
which means you sold things.
Yes, then I have the potential opportunity to get to stay in that gallery space, which is, I mean, like to have my own gallery is a dream, but it's something you got to work towards. So this would be an excellent opportunity for me if I can pull it off.
Okay, so as a professional artist, your goal is to have a separate space called a gallery where you can display art of yours at all times for sale.
Yes.
And that way,
ideal.
In a perfect world, pieces are selling. You're putting new pieces back in.
Yes. And also to showcase other artists.
Okay. And there'd be space for others.
Yeah. And so I feel like when I'm old, like for sure, hopefully that's something I would love to do.
A rising tide lifts all boats.
Yeah. When I feel like I have a really good eye and, I know a lot of very good artists and a lot of of times people just don't have the platform, or, artists are funny people because sometimes the ones that are really good have a difficult time talking. And you have to be able to look someone in the face and speak to them.
You're talking about
to sell work.
Some people may be great artists, but
they don't have the social part. You have to have both.
I mean, you've seen these shows where people are, darling, come look at this thing over here.
And then there's the people that are really good at that, and their work is horrible.
Right, here's the artist right here, and they're like, and they're real smooth, and they like them, and it helps the sale, right?
Yes.
Or if it's a person who can barely...
I feel like Tyler has a lot of the second.
They don't have the smooth guys?
No, they're the smooth ones.
Oh, okay. They got the smooth guys. Yeah, okay, well, I mean, I guess, in the business, there is that, right? It is a business now.
It is.
And there's got to be art that is trendy, maybe.
Absolutely.
I'm just assuming that sometimes music follows trends, clothing follows trends.
Pop art, it's definitely a thing. And that's one of my biggest struggles, because what I have to admire about some of these up-and-coming artists, and some that are from Tyler that I see doing much better than me in much shorter amount of time with much less effort. And it's because
that can be frustrating.
It is so frustrating. You have no idea.
I mean,
I've built this for 20 years, and I see somebody just come in and just like half try, and they're way bigger and better and richer than me.
It's the same in every field.
It is.
Think about lawyers. I know lawyers that I don't think can walk and chew gum.
I know.
And they've done well.
It's so crazy.
And I know some lawyers that I feel like are really, better than me.
Yeah.
And are not as good of marketers, and that's the talking to the people in the gallery part.
Yeah, and that's even in the gallery, I have the part that's like, for me, is a struggle is the online, because I'm just like, I don't want to be on the internet every day being like, today is what I had for lunch.
Are you talking about like
Instagram and then the social medias? And so I have an online presence. I have to, but like some of the local artists here that have done much better than me, that's all they do is the social media aspect of it. And it's worked very well for them.
I'll see you at the
and the other part of it,
whatever.
And the other part of it is like they found out a way to mass produce their work. And being able to mass produce your work is, that's what Andy Warhol did.
Right.
That's definitely a business model. So
it was trendy.
Yes.
And then it went away.
And I can't do that. So I have to find a way to make my work faster because I can't mass produce.
You're a purist, just like I said.
I know.
Right?
It's a blessing and a curse.
You don't embrace any of the trends.
No, I know. I need to. I feel like a very old lady. I feel like I'm like 90 years old inside.
No.
That's how I feel. I'm like, why are things changing?
I think it's as people from Tyler, everybody I interview that's been on this show is, in my opinion, is special in one way or another.
Yeah.
And a lot of I think it has to do with being raised here. There's something about, your parents, if you're going to do a job, you do it right. If you tell somebody you're going to do something, you keep your word, right?
1,000%.
It sounds like that's a thread that runs through you and is what you're struggling with in being the artist that you want to be.
It's difficult. But that's why my business is in my name. And that's one thing, that is what you said is so true. Growing up, that's one thing my dad always told me. You only have one name. Make sure that it stands for something, And so, I try to, everything I do, do it to the best. Do it, as clean and as good and as strong as you can, So this is good old East Texas values. It really is.
It's a thing, right?
It really is a thing. It is, and it's funny, too, because I always say Tyler's the biggest small town in the world. You can't throw a rock and somebody knows somebody or has a cousin, aunt, uncle, best friend, brother that's from here. Tyler really represents. Even when I travel, it's so funny. I'll just be the most random places, and you're like, "Oh, I'm from Tyler." You're just talking to a stranger, and
I've ran into people all over the country.
So funny.
It's crazy.
It is crazy. It is. They're everywhere. But it's like you said. It is like the East Texas values. Really, I feel like it goes far. I really do think it goes far.
But your reputation, you said that. Obviously that matters to you, and I think that's why you're so principled, I guess, as an artist, is that whatever you do eventually, though, it will be more lasting,
yes,
right?
That's the goal. Yeah.
When success comes.
Yes, when.
Your reputation, I mean, they say, it takes years to build a reputation and only a second to lose it.
Absolutely. Yes, that's really true. That's really true. And it's it's difficult too because I'm still in the I haven't made it.
Where's my funky picture of Adrian?
Do you
Chris?
have one?
Where's my ending picture?
I'm scared now.
Now this, I think this better represents, you if the podcast didn't, show your true personality.
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate, actually.
That picture looks like abstract expression escapism.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there it is.
I mean, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, you have a joy and a happiness about you that's evident just from the first day I ever met you.
Good. I'm so glad you feel that way. I appreciate that. Thank you.
You seem to feel that way, and you seem optimistic about your career.
I am optimistic. Yeah. Cautiously optimistic.
I mean, you got to be.
But I am. And I really do believe that hard work pays off. I keep telling myself that. Some days you really have to keep telling yourself that. But I do think that eventually it does pay off. And I mean, even the residency in France was a really good example because I remember thinking, oh, wow, this application is like pretty short, but I just put in, the best of what I had, even though it was short. And I heard back 3 weeks later and I was like shocked. But I also thought about it.
Did they think this was Adrian Stine?
I know, the other one. I know. But I just started bawling because I actually worked. Even though in that moment I was ready to present, but this was 20 years in the making, that opportunity, when the opportunity presented itself, like I worked so hard for all these years and then finally like somebody recognized it. And it was just really, it was very telling. I was like, yeah, it's like your hard work is going to pay off,
No, it's awesome.
I believe that,
And the joke I made about Adrian Stine, there's another artist that's a different kind, but the exact same name except for
the last name, Stein.
Stein, and you're Stine.
Mm-hmm.
But for people who want to look you up and follow you, that's a good way to remember you, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, Adrian and then Stine art. I mean, and then it pulls it up and they can look at your stuff if they want to.
My friends have a little running joke. So when they finally get a painting, they're like, oh, is that a Stine? Like, oh, it's a Stine.
Yeah.
So that's my little A Stine art. It's a Stine,
Right, that's on your business card.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's on purpose.
Yeah, it's on purpose. A little branding
your
there.
card does look, fashionable, like, hey, must be a real painter.
And
but it is a real painter.
It is.
You are a real painter.
I'm a real painter. It's in every sense of the word.
All right, so right now, let's move toward the end and focus on, right now, if you could have your dream job, would it be in Dallas, Texas, if you could have whatever it was?
I mean, it could be, but I'd really prefer to, I miss the coast.
Okay. All right.
So I would love to move back to the coast.
So
I was just in Seattle and it definitely stole my heart a little bit. Dallas is like a second home to me. I love Dallas. It's very comfortable.
Seattle's rainy all the time.
I know. I went they said I went at the perfect time because it was blue skies everywhere the whole time I was there. But yeah, I was there one of the 4 months it doesn't rain out of the year.
Okay.
So I got the skewed version of it, I guess.
All right, so you're on the coast somewhere, and you have you're running a gallery, you're working in a gallery, you've mentioned career in the music sect of art, and that sounds broad. What is that?
Career in the music sector of art?
Yeah, like this. I saw that somewhere where it said you kind of, I read a lot about you and that you residing in Dallas, you were pursuing a career in museum.
In the museum. Yes. I mean, well, like I said, I had that time at the Tower Museum of Art. And then also whenever I was working for the restoration company, I really love working with the work. So I love managing a collection of artwork. It was like a dream job for me because I'm a nerd. So I really like the paperwork. I like having everything like exactly lined
Would you
up.
still paint
if
you managed an art museum?
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't think I could ever stop painting. I don't think I don't think it's like a choice. It's like one of those things like you don't really like finish it. Like, oh, and I painted You know, you don't like, I don't know. I can't. It's kind of almost compulsive. I have to paint. I forgot when I moved how important painting is actually to my mental well-being as well, because it is also an outlet. And there was a long
release.
Yes, it's absolutely a release. And there's a long stint just in getting settled and stuff where I didn't have a workspace, so I wasn't painting. And then when I started back, I was like, oh, I forgot I need to do this for me to stay sane. Like, actually. So, yes, I would definitely always be painting. Ideally, I would love to just do painting and sell my work. But I mean, as far as I don't know how realistic that is in this world to make a good enough living. And so, yeah, a dream job would be, you know, working in a registry for a museum or for a private collection, just managing the artwork, because I'm such a nerd. So I love like the history.
You just like being around art.
I love being around art. Yes, I do.
All right. So you're not going to mass produce.
No.
So we know your best path to success is going to be either to sell it from your website online, your materials or your work, right? Or it's going to be to show it in a gallery and sell it from there.
Yes, absolutely.
You off camera, and this is a good way to kind of go out on this podcast, is because, you know, your big oils, that's where your heart is. And that seems to be, you seem to be good at it, right?
Yes, yeah.
You told me earlier, it doesn't translate when you send your work to people. And so what should they look at to try to get a understanding of what it really looks like on the wall? Use some of your big art.
Well, that's kind of why I started doing installation photos with a lot of my work. That way people can see it in a room.
Like the one we were looking at.
Like the one that we're
earlier.
looking at. Yeah, because it's just, I mean, it's cool when you see a little thumbnail of it, but it's different when you see a person standing in front of it and you realize the scale.
Right.
And so that's one thing. And then the other thing is always trying to show more. I mean, the more I tell everyone, if they have an opportunity to see one in person, like, please go see it in person. Even if somebody's thinking of buying, I'm like, come by and look at it. Just come stand in front of it. It's going to hit you differently than on anything digital, you know? And so I would say a combination of those two things. Definitely exhibiting, always trying to exhibit more, which means I have to paint faster, you know?
Why? So, because people are buying what you paint, and that means your inventory is running down. And if somebody called, hey, we'd like you to show, and you go, hey, I've only got 2 paintings.
Yes, that's the
hard part.
That's the hard part, and because I'm a working artist too, and so, you know, sometimes I have to sell work. I can't not sell work. I don't have the luxury of holding on to my inventory because I need that money. Right. And so I'm very much a working artist. And so, like, now school's out, I'm like, okay, my mom's like, what are you going to do for the summer? I'm like, I'm painting. Like, I've got to paint, knock out as many paintings as I can as fast as possible, so I have a good amount of inventory. That way, when stuff sells, I have something to replace it. So it's kind of this is the, like we were saying earlier, though, this is the grind part where I have to just, because eventually what that means is in the economics realm, real world, is I'm not charging enough for my pieces. If I was, I wouldn't be running out of inventory, but I'm not in a position to hold on to that work to find a buyer, you know, at top dollar. So this is the real world. You have to make adjustments.
Right.
And
you have to do what you have to do.
Yeah. And so that's part of it, you know, but I'm constantly trying to make work, and it is a process. This is I'm excited for when I get back to Dallas, just lock myself in my studio. So
your parents, have they been generally supportive of this career path?
Yes. I think when I was younger, they thought it was a phase.
I mean,
but I've always done art. I've always painted.
But, you know, you can do art and have fun at home, honey, but you can't make a living with it.
I remember when I told my dad that I wanted to be a painter, and his exact words were, what are you going to paint, your cardboard box? And so, yes, but they are supportive. I think now they see that I am a professional.
But that speaks to the lack of appreciation from East Texans of art, too.
Yes. And I mean, obviously, every parent wants their child to have a successful career and job. Yeah. And so they're looking at it from a parental standpoint.
Take care of yourself.
Yes. You should be self-sufficient.
Have a nice life.
Have a nice car that runs.
Not struggle.
And so I absolutely get it.
I mean, get a partner, man, or a man, or whatever. You know, get something to help you.
I'm trying. No, but they are supportive. And I think now, especially after my, you know, it's nice when I'm like, my MFA show was such a it's kind of everything coming to a head and years of work. And so it's nice to be...
And tell us what those letters mean.
That was for my Master of Fine Arts, which was a terminal degree. So it's the same as a PhD, but for studio artists.
Okay, so people know it's like a PhD, but in yours, you have to produce work and have a show.
Yes, that's the last part of it is you have to have a final exhibition. And so mine was at the Meadows Gallery here at UT Tyler. And so it was nice because my parents were able to see. It's like different when you see. It
validated all that you've done.
Yes, it did. And like even like one of the biggest pieces that I did is actually about my father, and it was called My Father Was a King. So I was like, after I was like, oh, Dad, like which one do you want to get pictures in front of? And he was like, this one. And I'm like, all right, like not bad, huh? So yeah, they are supportive now. I think now they see that I do have something special, and it's nice for them to, it's nice for me to be able to show them that I am trying to be a professional and, am serious about it. And I think it's nice for them to see how much I've grown as an artist too. So,
well, you seem like both of those things, a professional, a person who's serious, a person that, has taught us a lot today. Me included.
I'm so glad.
Just in the preparation of the show, combined with my opportunity to get to talk to people like you.
Yeah.
I think I try to highlight people that I think are interesting and important from our city, right? I mean, if I introduced you somewhere and didn't tell them where you were from, the great part about it is most people would never assume you were from Tyler, Texas, right?
No, that's true. And people ask me and they're like, oh, Tyler.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, oh.
Well, I think people
Or they go, Tyler, Texas.
They underestimate us.
Yeah, they do.
Or they add some kind of Southern slang.
Yes, absolutely. That's Tyler, Texas.
But,
exactly.
Hey, we're showing them.
Yeah.
This show is showing them one guest at a time. Like,
absolutely.
We're an exceptional people. And East Texas goes across the board, all people, all professions, and all walks of life. And man, I really appreciate getting to know you, and thank you for being on the show.
Thank you so much. I'm actually so excited about this. I've really enjoyed listening to this, and I was just very honored for you to have me on here. So thank you so much. It's been lovely.